Welcome to my YouTube channel Wise Whispers, where silence speaks.
More than a wallet. My name is Florence, and I am 63 years old. At my age, you expect life to slow down a little. You expect the storms to settle and the people you love most to stand beside you. But one evening at a dinner table, my own son looked straight at me and said words that felt sharper than any knife. "You're just a wallet to me." And in that moment, something inside me broke. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I simply stood up and walked away. That night changed my life forever. The invitation. The dinner invitation came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in my small living room, sipping tea and watching the sunlight fall across the old wooden floor. Retirement had made my days quieter than they used to be, but I didn't mind. After 40 years of working as an accountant, peace was something I had earned. My phone buzzed. It was my son, Daniel. "Dad," he said, sounding unusually cheerful, "why don't you come over for dinner tonight? Emily's cooking." Emily was my daughter-in-law. She had always been polite with me, but distant, like someone speaking to a neighbor instead of family. Still, I was happy my son called. "Of course," I said, "I'd love that." I spent the afternoon preparing like it was a special occasion. At 63, you don't get many invitations anymore. I ironed my favorite shirt, the light blue one Daniel bought me years ago for Father's Day. I even stopped by a bakery to buy Emily a cheesecake, hoping it would make her smile. I drove to their house feeling hopeful. Maybe tonight would be different. Maybe tonight would feel like a family again. Memories of a different time. As I drove, memories filled my mind. Daniel wasn't always distant. When he was 5 years old, he used to run toward me every evening when I came home from work. Dad, guess what I did today?" I'd pick him up, spin him around, and listen to stories about school, playgrounds, and imaginary dragons. When he turned 16, I worked overtime so I could buy him his first car. When he went to college, I paid the tuition. When he got married to Emily, I paid for half the wedding. I never complained. Because that's what parents do. They give. And give. And give. The dinner table. When I arrived, Emily opened the door. "Hi, Florence," she said with a polite smile. Not Dad. Not Mr. Florence. Just Florence. Still, I nodded warmly. "Hello, Emily. I brought dessert." She took the cheesecake and set it aside. Daniel came from the living room, holding a glass of wine. "Hey, Dad." We hugged briefly. But it felt quick. Different. Dinner was already set on the table. Roasted chicken, vegetables, and rice. We sat down and started eating. At first, the conversation was light. Emily talked about her job. Daniel talked about a new business idea he wanted to start. Then Daniel cleared his throat. "Dad, actually, we wanted to talk to you about something." Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. The request. Daniel leaned forward. "So, Emily and I are planning to invest in a new property." "That sounds nice," I said. He nodded. "Yeah, but we're a little short on the down payment." I already knew where the conversation was going. It had happened before. Loans for renovations. Money for vacations. Help with car payments. Each time I said yes. Because he was my son. "So," Daniel continued, "we were hoping you could help us again." Emily looked at me silently. Waiting. "How much?" I asked. Daniel said the number. It was nearly half of my retirement savings. My heart skipped. "That's a lot," I said gently. Daniel's expression changed. "Well, Dad, you're not really using it anyway." I took a slow breath. "That money is for my future, medical expenses, living." Emily sighed. Daniel leaned back in his chair. And then he said the words that would echo in my mind forever. The words. "Dad," he he said coldly. Let's be honest. You're just a wallet to me. The room went silent. Emily didn't react. She just kept eating. For a moment, I thought maybe I misheard him. But Daniel continued. That's basically what parents are for, right? Helping their kids financially. Every word felt heavier than the last. I looked at my son, the little boy who once held my hand crossing the street. The teenager I stayed up all night helping with homework. The man I proudly watched walk down the aisle at his wedding. And now he saw me as a wallet. Nothing more. No father. No love. Just money. Walking away. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. Because sometimes silence carries more truth than anger. I slowly put my fork down. Then I stood up. Daniel frowned. Where are you going? I looked at him one last time. Home. He rolled his eyes. Oh, come on, Dad. Don't be dramatic. Emily finally spoke. Yes, Florence, we're just talking. I picked up my jacket. But before leaving, I said one sentence. If I'm just a wallet, then tonight the wallet is closed. And I walked out. The long drive. The drive home felt longer than usual. Streetlights blurred through the windshield. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. I wasn't angry. I was heartbroken. There's a special kind of pain when a stranger hurts you. But when your own child does it, it feels like losing a part of yourself. When I reached home, I sat in my car for nearly 20 minutes. Just thinking, remembering, wondering where I went wrong. A new decision. That night I barely slept. But by morning, something inside me had changed. For 63 years, I had lived for others. My parents. My job. My son. Now it was time to live for myself. I made 3 decisions that morning. I would stop giving Daniel money. I would focus on my own happiness. I would rebuild my life. And strangely, for the first time in years, I felt free. A different life. Over the next few months, my life changed in ways I never expected. I joined a local community center. I started gardening again, something I loved when Daniel was little. I even began volunteering at a small library, helping children learn to read. Their laughter filled the quiet spaces in my heart. People there appreciated me. They respected me. They didn't see me as a wallet. They saw me as Florence. The phone call. 6 months later, my phone rang. Daniel. I stared at the screen for a moment before answering. Hello. His voice sounded different. Dad, can we talk? I remained silent. Please. I agreed to meet him at a small cafe. When he arrived, he looked tired. Older. Dad, he said quietly, I'm sorry. I didn't respond immediately. He continued. Emily and we had some financial problems, and I realized something. What? I asked. He looked down. I treated you like money instead of family. The apology was real. I could hear it. But wounds don't heal instantly. I needed time, I said. And I took it. Daniel nodded slowly. I understand. A different relationship. That day didn't magically fix everything. But it was a beginning. We started meeting occasionally. Talking. Not about money. About life. About memories. About mistakes. And slowly, our relationship began to rebuild. Not as father and child relying on money, but as 2 people learning respect. The lesson. Today, as I sit on my porch at 63 years old, I think about that night often. The night my son called me a wallet. Strangely, it became the moment that saved my life. Because sometimes pain forces us to rediscover our worth. And I finally understood something important. Moral of the story. Love should never be measured in money. Parents give everything to their children, not because they are wallets, but because they love deeply. But respect must go both ways. And sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is walk away until others learn your true value. Because no human being is just a wallet. We are hearts. We are memories. We are people who deserve love. And my name is Florence. I am 63 years old, and I finally learned that my worth is far greater than the money in my pocket.